Basic Beginner's Guitar, Perfect Timing, A Focused Approach, Book 1, Lesson 3, Part 2. Okay, I'm going to try to accelerate a little here and get to where we can play some things. So let's just jump into page 17. This is a little review just from the end of the last lesson, talking about where to hold your finger. And that little picture is supposed to look like a finger. Does that look like a finger? So it's kind of showing you that it's there on the first fret, but it's close to the first fret, not on it, and it's not down lower. Okay, it's an important thing, and I touched on this a little while ago. Don't squeeze the string until your fingers are hurting, and it will take a while to get your fingers used to playing. You know, holding the strings down on the frets. You'll get, as the popularly discussed, calluses on your fingers, but they'll get better. Anyway, so don't squeeze them like you're trying to kill somebody. It takes practice. Be patient. So let's see. Okay, just a couple more things you'll need to know. Here we go again. Before you start playing by reading written music, first you need to know that there are notes you'll eventually see above and below the 5 lines on the staff, okay? And they're called, I said that wrong. Well, what I want to get at is they're called, they involve what's called ledger lines, and we're going to get down to that. But if you're way back on page 7 here, we're reading from page 18, way back on page 7, we learned that the notes on the 5 lines and 4 spaces of the staff. Okay, remember those? Okay, I'm not going to go through them. You've seen that, right? Every good boy does fine, and FACE, face. So these are notes just. Oh, there are notes just above and below the staff, and they are a G above and a D below, and they look like this. Okay. There's the D just below the staff and the G just above. Now. But there are also notes above and below that, okay? And they're shown by the use of what's called the ledger lines that I just mentioned. It's spelled either with a D or no D, L-E-G-E-R or L-E-D-G-E-R, either way. So I looked that up in case you don't believe me. So there are little short horizontal lines that continue the staff above and the notes above and below the staff, above the 5 main lines, like so, okay? And it's going to take you time, I noted, to get used to that, but here's a B. It's one, there's a line below the bottom of the staff, and then the note is B. The line right on, the note right on the line is a C, a low C. A low D sits below the line there, and then jumping up, you have F still on the staff, G above it, and then the first one utilizing a ledger line is A above that, B, and so on, okay? Finally, there are notes that are referred to, this is a big deal, as flat or sharp, okay? Flat means, I'm just going to read so my dyslexia doesn't kick in and I tell you something backwards. Flat means that the note and its pitch are half step below the note's letter name, okay? When a note is flat, there will be a symbol beside it that looks like this, and you see the little symbol there. Looks like a small B almost, but with a point at the bottom. And sharp means the note is in its pitch or half step above the note's letter name. So when a note is sharp, there will be this symbol. Looks like a little tic-tac-toe symbol. See that little guy there? Okay, and take note of this little. This is a real easy way to remember. I have a little drawing. It's kind of sad, but it's supposed to be of a car tire going flat. Okay, so it's showing that what happens to the car when the tire goes flat. Does it go higher or lower? It kind of sinks down, right? It goes lower. So that's a way to remember flat, by like a car tire goes flat, your car goes down. So does the pitch when you flatten a note. The tic-tac-toe sign, or like a number sign, two lines, horizontal and vertical. So like an F sharp, the low F sharp kind of it's shown before the note, and then here's a B flat. The flat, it goes before the note, and there it is. So what did I note here? One important last point to know about sharps and flats. Oh, go to the next page. Boy, just keep you in suspense here, don't I? Look at that guy. He's pretty excited. An important thing to know about sharps and flats, actually two things. First, since a flat lowers a note a half step and a sharp raises a note half step, we are on page 20 now, okay? It should become evident, I said it becomes evident, it should become evident that, for example, if we lower a note in this case we'll say an A note a half step, by making it flat, it will be the same note as G raised a half step by making it sharp, okay? So an A flat and a G sharp are the same, okay? That's what this is all showing here. And, you know, obviously this G is on the line for G, second line up. The A is on the second space up, but the flat, it was bringing it down a half, and the sharp note for the G is bringing it up a half. So what's being described there is that both notes are the same, okay? So an A flat lower, half step lower than A, and a G sharp, half step higher than G, are the same. I'm going to say, let's see, we're not going into this for into the reasons for this seemingly odd circumstance here. It's enough to know for now that you are aware, and that you're aware of it. It can be a little confusing, but keep it in mind, okay? The second thing to know, let's see, I'm not going to touch on that just yet. I just want to show you that here's the G, okay? G is the open string G, and maybe a better way to do that would be with one that you've learned. Now, let's see. Okay, we'll go. There's an F. At least that's one note you've learned. And the G is here, just because I know what it is, okay? I haven't showed you that yet. I don't believe the fingering for it. But what would be a half step? The only thing you could go below a G and still be above an F, which is here, is this one spot, right? There's nowhere else. So this is G flat, but if you go half a step up from F, it's F sharp, okay? So F sharp, F sharp is the same as G flat, and then G. So F sharp, G, or you could say F, G flat, G, okay? Hopefully I said that right. I think I did. So I think, what's my time here again? Let's see. The second thing to know about sharps and flats is that there is no note between B and C, and there also is no note between E and F, okay? So there's no B sharp or C flat, and there's no E sharp or F flat, okay? These are just things to remember. As I go to the next page, page 21, it's saying again, without trying to explain too much here, you will notice as you learn the notes, what I was just trying to show you between F and G, there's only one place you can be, so that has to be half step up. From F is F sharp, half step down. From G is G flat. But just to know, and so from looking at your instrument, you'll figure that out. It makes it more visible there, I think, from that little thing I showed you. So that those four notes, B sharp and C flat, and then E sharp and F flat, don't exist. And I'll say sort of. So this comes one of the fun things here. My little arrow going down to the bottom of the page is, I'm going to just say it here beforehand, just to clarify the statement above about B sharp, C flat, E sharp, and F flat not existing, is that there are exceptions to this in written music, but we will not be considering those reasonably rare exceptions in this study, okay? That's that little note down here. Just trust me on that for now. That'll be in a book too, I guess, but so moving on, I know that was quite a few pages, page 6 to 21, on how to read and play written music, some early aspects of all that. So let's try a simple song with what you've learned up to this point. Page 16 showed you the fingering for the high E and high F notes, as well as where they were on the music staff for a first short song. Here's another note you've seen on the staff, the D note. Go back and look at page 18 if you want to, as well as its fingering, the third finger, third fret, second string, which is the B string, right? So it's showing it to you here on the staff, and here is how it is on your instrument. Okay, so it's this note here. Okay, second string, third fret, third finger. Okay, so you're gonna also have to remember about whole notes and half notes and quarter notes, because they're all in there. Okay, for this little song for Edie at the bottom of the page. Okay, E-Y-D-I-E, for Edie, by that famous composer C. Zimmerman. Never heard of the guy, but so try to play this short song, remembering also what you've learned about the note types, which I just said. Okay, so if we would count, I'll count, and I'm going to play through it. Okay, and so it should sound like this. This is your first official song, aside from the. Okay, so they're all these notes are on the high E string, the top string, first string, smallest string, highest string. Has too many names, doesn't it? So the first string, and then the D there in the third measure is on the second string in the third fret. Okay, so if I would just count it, and we would come in, so let's say 1, 2, ready, play, and I'll keep counting. It should be 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think I did it right. Let's try it again. We'll go slower, maybe a little slower. 1, 2, ready, play. E, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 1, 2, 3, 4. E, 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of hesitated on the fourth thing, measure a little bit. Let's just try to play it a little faster. Okay. I'll say 1, 2, ready, play. See how you do. Remember, it's only an open string and this, so the timing's a big deal. Remember our title of our book, Perfect Timing, right? Okay, ready? 1, 2, ready, play. E, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, is that easy? Okay, should have been pretty easy. As I'm noting here, congratulations, top of page 22. You have now played your first song. Yay! Where are we at on time? Okay, we're almost done here. So I went through quite a few pages there, and I sort of wanted to do that. So you've played your first song by reading written music. Woo-woo! However, and this is so important before we move on, let's analyze how well you did. First, the easy part. Did you play the correct fingering for the notes? And you had E, open E, and D, right? So you should have got that right pretty well. The E was the first string played on open, and the D was the second played on the third. So, okay, you probably got that right. Now, we come to the second part, very, very important, but often ignored, the timing of the notes. Let's break the simple song for Edie, part 21, or page 21, down by its 4 measures. Okay, measure 1 should have been the E note, and let it ring for 4 beats or counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, since it was a whole note, and as we've learned, they get 4 beats. I think I might be running out of time. Let's do measure 2. Should have again played an E note, but this measure contains 2 quarter notes and a half note, so the first 2 should have had 1 beat or count each. First note 1, 2 note equals 2, and then the third note, since it has a half note, should have been 2 beats. And let's move on to our next lesson. Try to squeeze this bit of information in. Well, the last 2 beats of the measure 3, 4. Okay, so we're going to start on measure 3 next lesson. That will be whatever it is, okay? Because you can remember, I can't. But go on to our next lesson here. Okay, you ready? Hop on over there. See ya.